Oh, vacation. Yes, it's that magical time of the year, usually in the summer, where we try to hit up some of our favorite relaxing spots. Now, for toy collectors, vacation means a little something different than it does for most. So join me today as I take you on a vlog of my Toycation. In order to celebrate Brandon's birthday here, we decided that we were going to attend the Kentuckiana Joe show. It was the 9th annual one. It's something we usually do. At the show, you can find all sorts of great 3 3/4 G.I. Joe figures, as well as classic 12-inch figures, and even Super Joe, as you can see here. There was such a great selection at the show. It's held in Louisville, Kentucky, and we always really enjoy the kind of smaller scale that the show is on. And we can also find all sorts of rare pieces and lots of good deals for a collection. Now, we did meet Daryl DePriest, who was at the show, and he was a brand manager at Hasbro for many years and was responsible for Star Wars and G.I. Joe brands at different times. I even got a giant-sized Sergeant Slaughter, and we're dressed up as Chuckles and Shipwreck. I did enter a contest with my custom Rambo figure in 3 3/4 scale. I didn't win, but it was still a lot of fun, and I thought I would let you guys see that here. There was also a lot of cool entries in that contest, and a lot of guys put a lot of work in, so I really thought those were great. Got to see a lot of cool G.I. Joes in different outfits. There was one lady that had some really awesome dioramas, particularly the Army Surplus store, and some barracks there. And I walked away with quite a few cool things. Alright, and here we have my haul from the Kentuckiana Joe convention. For whatever reason, I've always been enamored by the 1991, I believe it was, version of Cobra Commander. Even though he looks absolutely ridiculous, I think that's why I love him so much. In particular, this rarer version of the figure, where they actually colored in his eyebrows up here really dark, and you can practically just see his face, eliminating practically any of the mystique of Cobra Commander. And this was a really good sample I was able to find at the show, and it included all of his accessories, so I was really pleased with that. I've always liked Salvo. He was a character that was featured more prominently in like the Deke cartoon that they did after the Sunbow series. I really like his ridiculous shirt, the Rite of Might, and he came with all of his accessories as well, so I was glad to finally get a Salvo in good shape. 1992 Gung Ho here has always been a figure that is just so bombastically patriotic that it's hard to believe it even exists. And I just love Gung Ho anyway, so this was great to get, especially with all of his accessories. One of the best things about Kentuckiana Joe is the massive parts bins you can rifle through and just kind of see what you can find. And I've never had the G.I. Joe Command Center, whatever you want to call it. That was kind of an earlier playset. But I've always wanted the console that has all the stickers on it that shows like the different characters in Cobra Commander and Scarlet and stuff. And I actually found that console, so I'm going to be able to just kind of incorporate this into some of my dioramas just for fun. One thing that I've always wanted to get my hands on is one of the mail-away G.I. Joe Rise of Cobra Commander figures. Now, the interesting thing about this mail-away, for those that aren't initiated, is that this is pretty much the exact same figure that ended up coming out, but the deal is this one was kind of different. You can see that this Cobra Commander, although he looks extremely similar, is slightly different with some of the different cues on the art and things. And he also comes with this mini Hiss tank that was made to look like the new Pursuit of Cobra Hiss tank, and it even is done in a crimson kind of color, like a metallic color. And what's great is you get this cool kind of file card on the back, and although this never came to fruition as a mail away as they had intended it to, they ended up selling this through the club, so it's not that hard to find at shows, but I always really wanted one for myself. In the background you can see that I have some Sergeant Savage figures. This was a kind of failed line for G.I. Joe, where it's funny, they took the kind of 3 3/4 figures that they were already doing and they blown them up to where they were like 5.5-inch scale. I've always been fascinated by this line, particularly that Joe Kubert artwork you can see in the background there, which is really, really nice. I don't hate Sergeant Savage, I really don't. So I was always wanting to get some of these. I was able to get these guys pretty cheap, not $1.99 Big Lots price cheap, but pretty cheap, so I was glad to get them. But maybe my favorite pickup was finally getting a hold of the G.I. Joe Club Cross Country. Now, Cross Country is still one of my favorite old designs for an old O-ring G.I. Joe figure. There was always just something about his outfit that popped. I've always really liked his hat and his kind of funny mullet and his cool vest. So when the club made this figure years and years ago, I'd always really wanted it, but really didn't have the chance to get it until now. If you know anything about the history of this figure, Cross Country has a logo on his belt that's reminiscent of a certain flag, and if you have a look, you can probably tell which one, and that makes him a very, very questionable release to ever be released in this kind of form ever again. Of course, you never know. Maybe someday they'll do a G.I. Joe classified version where they change up his costume a little bit, and that won't be so much of a concern, but still, really glad to get this and add it to my modern collection. But this isn't all. Actually, the highlights for what I found at the show were the vehicles. Perhaps my favorite find at the show was finally getting a hold of one of the massive Rolling Thunder vehicles. And this is always something that I've wanted for my collection, and it finally just fell into place. The price was right. The level of completion was right. The condition was pretty good, really, all things considered. And it just, I thought, was a great opportunity to finally add this to the collection. It even came with Armadillo, the vehicle driver, and I'm really, really pleased with it. So it's great to finally add this massive transforming tank to my G.I. Joe collection. And finally, I was able to get a hold of the massive Thunderclap vehicle. This has always been something I've been interested in adding, mostly because of its massive firepower and its ability to separate into 3 distinct vehicles. I actually don't have it all set up here. These are all the pieces that it's supposed to come with, and it's complete and everything, but I haven't got a chance to clean it up and assemble it. So that's something I'm really excited about as well. Overall, Kentuckiana Joe was a huge success, and I was able to pick up a lot of great stuff that I was really wanting. It was a really great trip, and Sergeant Slaughter was extremely sleepy by the end of it. Next up, I decided to visit the Haywood Mall just a couple of days later because me and my wife were on a much longer trip, but I always find a way to stop off along these trips to find something cool. As you can see, as the escalator is taking me down, I had just gotten directions to the Lego store that was here in the mall. Now, this mall is located in Greenville, South Carolina. And this Lego store had actually only been open a few years, I think maybe in 2018. For longtime viewers of the channel, you know that a lot of the times I do some live streams and things about Lego. It's kind of a side hobby for me along with my figures, but it's quickly taking up more and more shelf real estate. It was a really nice mall. It was very well kept. It definitely was not a dead mall. There was a lot going on there, lots of people. The reason I was stopping here was because there is a Harry Potter gift with purchase, the Grand Staircase, that was pretty much sold out everywhere, and this was the last day of the promotion. Thankfully, I had called ahead. They said they had like 2 left. So once I got in there, it was kind of a mad dash straight to the Harry Potter section to get the required $130 worth of stuff to get that gift with purchase. And I was really, really pleased with it. The store itself was really cool. They had giant size Lego sculptures like the pirate back there. They did have a really great selection of adult sets right here, as well as your kind of standard ones. Here I am with the pirate, and it was just a cool store. So in order to meet that $130 threshold to get the gift with purchase, these are the 2 sets that I chose from the new Harry Potter wave. We have, of course, the Shrieking Shack and Whomping Willow. This is something that a lot of us fans have really been looking forward to, and it's something that will perfectly complete our Hogsmeade Village setup that had come out earlier. Also, there's the 12 Grimmauld Place. Now this one I'm really excited about, just based on the strength of how it's reviewed and a lot of the good stuff people have said about it, particularly the transformation feature where it reveals the secret headquarters right in the middle there. So I'm really excited about that, and the massive amount of minifigures. Together, this was well over the $130 threshold, and it allowed me to get this. Probably the hottest gift with purchase that they've ever had for Harry Potter is this Grand Staircase. It's practically unbelievable that they didn't do this as a regular retail release set for $20 or so. And it might even be kind of a shame that they didn't, because this is designed to go with the buildable Hogwarts system, the one that they started just a year or so ago. And this is the representation of the staircase that moves. You even get a Hermione with it, but that's not really the highlight. The highlight is all the exclusive stickers. You can see all the portraits. You can even see the fat lady up here. Everything just works together so well. Incredible that they offered it like this and not as a standard set, and I think that's why it was so popular, and definitely why I got the second to last one that they even had in the store. So it was a really great get to acquire this one. Of course, then the rest of the trip was to get to Florida. Thankfully, a couple of our friends, including my friend Adam, had invited us to stay with them in Florida, so we were very happy to go there. I did stop at this toy store in Daytona, and it was really cool. I did come out with two different things that I did find there. These items are from 1993. It was when Hasbro was gearing up to celebrate the 30th anniversary of the G.I. Joe action figure, and this first one is the Action Marine. If you open it up, you can see that inside you have a 3 3/4 tribute to that original Action Marine large-sized figure. This was always something I meant to get a hold of, and so I'm glad that they had it. And look, I even get 1 flag point. Also, they had the Action Soldier. There he is, and I really like the diorama piece that he comes with there. What's cool is these boxes kind of clasp back together almost like little books. So these were two really cool finds at the toy store, and I really enjoyed stopping there. I highly suggest that you do as well. They had lots of great stuff there that I hadn't seen in so many years, especially on card, so that was great. We went to the tallest lighthouse in Florida, had a lot of fun there, and the journey to the top was a hot one, but once you get to the top, the view was pretty remarkable. There was also some other great sights, as you could go very far out on the coast. We also stopped at the Museum of Arts and Sciences in Daytona. They had some really great displays, including some toy-based displays, like this Coca-Cola Transformer. They even had a giant house with their huge teddy bear display. They had toy trains, and they had an ode to toys from the past here, and some really incredible vintage pieces, probably some of the oldest toys I'd ever laid my eyes on, like this Raggedy Ann doll. They even had a video game and media exhibit, and it was very funny to see things like PlayStation games on display. And of course the Atari, which another Lego link there, since Lego just did an Atari set. You can see the N64 and kind of the Nintendo display there. It was a really cool stop off. Next up, we decided to take a break at a place called Game Time in Daytona. Now, Game Time is right across from the Daytona Speedway and a huge shopping center, and they had so many cool arcades, and I really thought this place was a lot of fun. You can see here that there's just so much going on, and some really wild stuff in here. I think one of the coolest things was, instead of just loading your card with credits, you could just pay for time on your card. So I had an hour to kill after we were bowling, so I simply just paid for an hour of unlimited game time. Of course, the only bad thing is you don't get tickets for that. This arcade particularly was really, really funny. Now, the funny thing about this one, and you'll see what I mean pretty quick once you see some other pictures of it, is, do you recognize these guys? Yeah, it kind of looks like Van Helsing, kind of looks like Kate Beckinsale there from Underworld. So it was kind of this funny ripoff arcade to where they had done the bare minimum to like legally change up the look of the characters. You can see that's definitely Hugh Jackman as Van Helsing. They even had an augmented reality like AR King Kong. They had a funny Ghostbusters arcade with ping pong balls. It was a really cool arcade. There was all kinds of cool stuff to do. Really enjoyed the bowling as well. Definitely suggested, loved playing the Jurassic Park arcade and even the Luigi's Mansion arcade. So that was a great place to visit. So the next day I decided to try to head out to Disney Springs. And if you don't know what Disney Springs is, it's kind of like this big shopping center in this pavilion that has all kinds of stores, all kinds of restaurants, lots of Star Wars and Marvel merchandise, of course, because it's Disney. You don't have to have an admission to the park to go there. It's just adjacent to it. Saw lots of cool stuff in the Marvel section, lots of cool Thor merchandise actually, including this pin for my nephew. But it was the Lego store I was trying to get to, and that morning when they were opening up, I knew that I had to get there quick because that was the day, August 3rd, that they were going to be offering the new Lion Castle. And of course that was VIP access only, so of course it's easy to become a VIP, just sign up. So I knew I had to get there as quick as I could. All these pictures were taken afterwards because it was a mad rush. So as soon as they opened, the huge line got in. Everybody was trying to get a castle. When I first got there, I thought that maybe I had missed it, but nope, they were bringing out these big brown boxes just as fast as they could, and they were bringing out cart after cart after cart. So clearly Lego had anticipated the demand for this, and the great thing was I was able to get the gift with purchase that came with it, which has been sold out online for a little while, and that is the Forest Men's Hideout, or whatever you want to call it. It's kind of a Robin Hood set. There they have it on display. It was so exciting to finally see this. I would say there were probably 50 to 75 people who were all in line to try to get this thing. And thankfully Lego did anticipate demand, so I was able to get it no problem. So I was very, very happy about that. I decided later to return to the Lego store and kind of give a little tour of everything just so that you could see some of their vast selection. By far, this was the largest Lego store I had ever been in. I'm not sure if it takes the title of biggest Lego store in America, but I do think it would have to be close. I have not been to Legoland, where they may indeed have a larger store, since I guess that would be appropriate, but this was definitely close. You can see that they had all sorts of great displays. Here is a better look at the display where they actually did have the 90th anniversary castle. You can also see that they had massive quantities of all of the adults welcome or icon sets, whatever you want to call them now. Still need to get that Batwing up there. Great selection of Harry Potter sets. I kind of wonder if they had ran out of the Grand Staircase a long time ago. Interestingly, by this time, I didn't see the Forest Men Hideout set anywhere, and it was about 1 o'clock in the day, so I don't think it lasted too long, considering that they sold so many of those castles. And you can see the spaceship and other sets sitting around there. It was a very, very busy day in there. They were still limiting how many people could come in. There you have your giant pick-a-brick wall, the biggest one I've seen in person. There is the spaceship. Lots of quantities of it available. I'm sure they sold through quite a few. My friend Adam's wife surprised him with one of these. She sent me the money to grab him one, so that was great, and he's in the process of building that. They had lots and lots of these Disney Magic Castle set, Magic Kingdom sets, whatever you want to say. They were really cool looking, of course, and of course it would be because of the Disney Springs location. They had a very tiny little section for Monkey Kid, and it was kind of sad to see it relegated to that section, and most of it was on clearance. Had I not bought such an expensive item, I probably would have grabbed the Bone Demon set because it is very massive and has always looked great in reviews. They had a huge amount of Technic and other stuff, but it was time to exit near Hulk, as the sign says. And that's one thing that you've probably seen already, is just how massive these Lego like statues were that they had brick built. This Hulk was incredibly impressive. Had to get my picture with him. There was a line of people trying to. Thankfully, my quest to Disney Springs really paid off because I was able to get a hold of Lion Knight's Castle. Now, this massive set is so incredible and is such an appropriate way to celebrate 90 years of Lego. One of the main reasons that I knew that I had to get to the actual store and get there as quick as I could was to get the gift with purchase. Although they had offered this same gift with purchase a little while back, they re-offered it briefly at the beginning of the month in anticipation of the castle set. Unfortunately, it sold out before the castle set could be released on the website, meaning your only hope was to get to an actual Lego store like I had to do to get a hold of it with your purchase of the castle. Thankfully, I was in time. Later on, they did sell out of them that I could tell anyway, but here it is, the Forest Hideout, or the Forest Men's Hideout, and it's done in that classic yellow packaging. So I was really glad to get this. It's such a great recreation of that old set. And I really feel like Legos should have had this be something that they only offered as something you get with the castle. Kind of like how the '89 Batmobile mini set was only offered with the purchase of the Ultimate Collector Scale Batmobile. I think that way Lego really could have minimized the number of people who were disappointed that there weren't any more of the gift with purchases left online. And there's a whole lot of folks that cannot make it to an actual retail Lego store. It just so happened to work out for me that I was near the Disney Springs location around that time. But I can't wait to get to build this thing and hopefully I'll get to live stream the entire experience so you can be there with me. So be on the lookout for that. It was a very successful trip. I guess I'll leave you with these pictures of my time at Planet Hollywood. Of course, that's just a restaurant there in Disney Springs, but I was not prepared for the amazing amount of movie memorabilia and screen use costumes and props that they would actually have on display. I knew that there would be some things, but I certainly didn't anticipate this wild variety, including Flash Gordon's sword there, the Crypt Keeper. It was amazing to see this stuff. Freddy's sweater and hat and claw, and even the plank of wood that Rose did not let Jack onto at the end of Titanic. We even had Apollo Creed's costume from Rocky IV, which I was very impressed to see. That felt like an historic moment for me. Jurassic Park park worker costumes, even stuff from Bram Stoker's Dracula, Wolverine's claws from Origins, especially Roadblock's costume there from Retaliation, Deadpool's stunt sword, Back to the Future 3. It was amazing to see this stuff. Plenty of Star Wars memorabilia, test tablets for the 10 Commandments. I mean, Terminator 2. It was crazy. So I highly suggest that if anybody has the time, that if you're in Florida, you stop off at this Planet Hollywood so that you can see all of these incredible historic film props and costumes. And if you're like me and you're a movie buff, and of course we are here at Fanboys Forever, you won't want to miss this, including a section of the Death Star Trench. I mean, amazing, right? So much cool stuff, whether you're a Star Wars fan or just a movie fan in general. Home Alone screen use props like the sled and the actual boggin. Never thought I'd get to see that in person, and truly I was blown away. And they had Hook stuff, which I'm a huge fan of that. Screen used Spider-Man 1 costume, Jim Carrey's actual Riddler suit, a Chris Reeves Superman costume. They even had a Jessica Jones outfit. But the coolest thing of all was the Daredevil costume from season 2. And this is before he changes the cowl up and he has the big like stitching on the mask. This was an actual screen used Daredevil season 2 costume that Charlie Cox actually wore. All right, friends, well, I certainly hope that you've enjoyed this deep dive into my Toycation that I had. Of course, I had a great trip. This is just showing you kind of the sidebar of some of the toy-related stuff that I did on the trip. Found time for plenty of other great stuff as well. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you want to see more videos like this, kind of slice of life type of things, I would love to do that. So just let me know if this is something you're interested in, and I'll be sure to start providing more of these trip style videos. And don't forget, be sure to subscribe to the channel. We have all sorts of new videos coming out all the time. And of course, be sure to like the video because it does help that pesky algorithm kind of put us out there a little bit more. And as always, God bless you and yours. And I'll see you on Fanboys Forever. Fanboy out.